This Amazon exclusive rangefinder, I think it's about to change quite a lot of things in the industry. Not only just because of its reasonable price, but actually because what this thing is able to do. Which begs the question, is this the best value rangefinder in 2025 that no one knows about? Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. Simon here at Sandford Springs, and there's a few surprises about this that kind of shocked me because I think it's going to be a name that you're going to see a lot more going into 2025, especially on Amazon. Because yes, price is one thing, but I'm going to talk about cheaper rangefinders through this video and more expensive ones, and why I honestly think this is the perfect blend of both worlds. To cut a long story short, this does everything the expensive ones do and at a fraction of the price. However, before I go any further and blow too much smoke up it, I must say this is a paid partnership. Even though I will draw some negatives, this is the best paid partnership as it perfectly fits my channel to a T. And if you're new here and you don't know what my channel is all about, it's about good value equipment, typically second-hand equipment. Equipment that flies under the radar, whether that's brand or not necessarily got the public perception that it so deserves, which is a good thing because it means that we're then in the know. Oh, it works for Scotty and it works for me. Not that I can get a T-peg out, however. Let's keep this unboxing quick and simple as there are more interesting things to obviously cover. The A-segment PF S5, so you're gonna find your case cover, your typical one that's gonna sit on the bag, as well as have these nice little ties that you'll be able to clip over when you're playing, so you don't have to constantly zip it up and zip it down every time you take your rangefinder out. What actually is exciting in this box is a charging cable, and anyone that owned a rangefinder will know how expensive rangefinder batteries actually are. Because yes, this thing can be recharged, which to be honest is a must-have on a rangefinder in my eyes. As we go further, we've got instructions, and to be honest, you won't need those because I'm going to tell you how to use this thing. And lastly, what is a nice touch is this metal belt buckle loop. I don't know anyone that potentially would play with a rangefinder on their belt loop, but if you did want to, guess what? This thing is magnetic. So mate, what did you say? What you need a quick yardage? Hang on one sec. Now I joke, but a lot of these things are always advertised on more premium models as things that you need to have, and they're nice, don't get me wrong, but do you need to spend a fortune on them to have these kind of things? As well as discuss the elephant in the room, there's also cheaper models than this one that I have here that also offers that magnetic strip and chargeable cable, because guess what, it doesn't really cost all that much money to put that on your device. However, what the cheaper models don't have is what we're going to discuss. Oh, go on, be the one. Oh, should play golf more often. That being said, this wouldn't be an authentic review if I didn't champion the cheaper models. Because I've tested and reviewed multiple rangefinders around the £60, £70 mark, the $100 mark of Amazon, and let me tell you, they are accurate enough. And that's for the average golfer, as well as making sure you've got the correct, well, distance. My thing is, if you're young, your hands are steady, you've got very good eyesight, those things can work really well. There'll be plenty of people in the comments saying, this is rangefinder that I bought for $80, $100, go, it's the best thing I've ever bought, and that is true. The whole reason that we've had £300, £400, $600 rangefinders in the past is that they boast that they are more steady, easier to use. 290, 290 again, 289 again. I must also stress I'm doing this in front of my camera lens, not up against my eyes, so sorry for the bit of shakiness. And it's one of the reasons why I was actually excited to do this review, because I've tested many rangefinders, very expensive rangefinders, and this feels and looks just as good as the others, especially when it comes to the ease of use side of the thing. And we haven't even started talking about the other functions that it can actually do. $199 is the price tag for this thing. Well, I guess £160 if we were to convert it. And obviously I'm going to show you all the other stuff. A lot of technology that you see nowadays in the more premium rangefinders. And it's honestly why I think it is the best value, because yes, it's a bit of money. Don't get me wrong, there's cheaper models, but for ease of use, simplicity, all the other functions, plus actually, as I'm about to show you, I feel like it does the functions better than some of the others out there. For example, let's say I didn't just rifle my ball straight down the middle, leaving me a perfect yardage into the flag, but actually went over here, my typical push into the trees. Now in 2025, this technology isn't new. However, let me show you what coach mode looks like and actually why it doesn't look that confusing to me anymore. The example is, obviously I can't laser the flag because there's loads of trees in my way. Therefore, I have to walk away from my ball, go to the flag, and then obviously make a rough estimate. So we're going into coach mode. All you do is just keep pressing this M button for mode and it cycles through them. But I've never seen this and I like it. It has the ball signal flashing there. Obviously this is a lot easier to do when I'm not obviously in front of a camera lens, and we zap, oh, it's lost it. Zap the ball there. Right, what have we got? 15 yards. We rotate and we then aim at the flag, something like that. And then we go, right, how far we got? Oh, I definitely zapped the trees by accident. Trust me, if you put it up to your eye and you have a steady hand, coach mode works great on this thing. However, one thing that this thing does really well, and it's going to be tough because obviously I'm trying to do this in front of camera, the scan mode. Like, again, as you're going around, like let me say I go to the trees at the back there. Apologies if this is obviously not the best viewing, but then I come back down here. How far have I got? 40 yards right in front of me. Hang on, there we go, 30 yards. Back to the trees, how far have we got? You can see how quick it is. You can see how the slope's changing. Again, the slope's at degrees down the bottom there. As I'm going down, the slope's changing more. If I go up, i.e. you had a shot uphill, look, you can see how it's changing every single time. You can see how the yardage is changing. Obviously, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to lock onto a flag or particular tree in the distance. However, what happens if you're playing a course where the fairway doesn't necessarily have any distinction? You can't quite tell which tree's further away, which one's not. You can just scan the distance, get a rough idea, then zap the exact yardage that you actually want. Before we go into the last bit, I must state you can't use slope, i.e. the degree changing, the yardage changing in competition. You have to take that off, but it's good for practice. And all you do to obviously turn it off is you swipe that to the left, and now this won't give you degrees through here. It'll just give you the raw yardage. Add to the long list, while I was quite excited to test this thing, and something else that always keeps getting talked about recently is the fact that you can change the lens color. Again, in dark, cloudy, rainy, misty days, I appreciate this is a function. Again, personally, if you can't see that black circle in the distance there, then potentially a rangefinder is not for you. But if I hold down, oh hang on, it's gone now. However, if I hold down the mode button for longer, look, everything's red. And again, people are trying to charge a lot for that function. And let's be honest, it's just a little red light. Now, if you're wondering what the little disc one is, I won't spend too much time. I presume that's obviously for disc golf. Disc mode, it's all in feet now, for example. And again, same function as everything else. To be perfectly honest, for us golfers, you pretty much always want flag on. As you can see, I've taken the slope off now. I zap it, 180 yards. Doesn't tell me the slope, but obviously, we're quite level here, so that is 108 yards to that flag. I'll leave you with this, and I'll tell you why you should listen to my other rangefinder reviews. Because having a yardage into a target in this game is important, don't get me wrong. For a lot of us just starting, obviously a rough yardage is more than enough. Which is why, just like all the other paid reviews I've done in the past, I always talked about the cheaper models, what they can give you, what they can do. This is the first one I've done where the price tag is somewhat close enough, does everything that all the more premium one does, that I go, for the sake of £60 more, £70 more, or maybe $80, $90 more, this is worth having a conversation about. And after I used it for a week, well, I was quite excited to do this review. Tell you what, the next rangefinder review is going to be a bit difficult, isn't it? Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.